In this video, we're going to talk about a position that almost every tour player gets in that allows them to strike the ball clean almost every single time. Before I get into that, I want to say thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Hit that like button. It really helps me make more of these videos for you guys. So if you enjoy it, hit the like. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into the secret move that I see amongst almost every tour player. Most of them are going to have different swings, but there's a few positions that they all get in to help them strike the ball a lot better, especially with their irons. We're really going to focus on the irons today. Now, what this position is going to do is help you release the club correctly and get the right spot. What's the one thing that we hear about the irons all the time? You guys are probably sick of hearing it, but you need to get the hands ahead of the golf ball, de-lofting the club, hitting the ball first, and then divot second. It sounds great, but really, how do we get into that position? What do? Do we push our hands forward? How do we get our hands in front? How do we de-loft this club and have a pure strike? Well, there's one similarity that I see amongst most of these golfers when you slow down their swing and you stop them in certain positions. And the big thing that I want to talk about today is their right arm, okay, or their trail arm, left arm if you're a left-handed golfer, right arm if you're a right-handed golfer, and how the elbow gets in front of the hands before release. Just like any other sport, whether you're a football player, baseball player, any high-level golfer or high-level football quarterback, Tom Brady, for instance, when he throws a football, he's going to lead with his right elbow, okay, and then the hands follow as he releases, okay? Any pitcher you look at, when they're throwing, they're coming here, and then they're releasing, okay? So it's the same thing with the golf swing. We got to get that right elbow closer to the left arm, okay, as our downswing goes. And there's one position, this is the highlight right here that we're talking about, that most of these golfers are getting in. And it's when their hands are on the downswing and they're about hip height. The right elbow comes really close to that right hip, especially in a lot of golfers. Some of the golfers, it almost looks like they're kind of grazing the right hip with their right elbow. Okay, and other golfers may be a little bit further away. But the one thing I'm seeing, it's crazy. It doesn't matter whose swing you're looking at. On their downswing, that our right elbow gets really close to that right hip. And if more golfers, more amateur golfers out there, higher handicaps, can learn this move and get into this position, they're going to be releasing the club better, more effortless power, and getting the hands in front of the ball easier. Okay, another thing we're seeing amongst most of these golfers when their hands are hip height on the downswing and that right elbow is getting close to that right hip is this club is laid off, okay, shallowed. The shallow means, you know, this is going to be shallow, this is steep. So if the club was steep, it would be here, this would be shallow with the head more behind their body. Now what I'm seeing is the right elbow near that right hip, the club almost traces this right arm, okay? So depending on the camera angle, you're going to see kind of the club and the right forearm kind of matched up, which is a really good position to be in. All right, so how do we get there? One thing that I really like to do is just take the club with your right hand here and start making swings where you can feel like your right elbow is almost connecting with your right hip, okay? If I can do that, I'm already, with one hand, getting my divots more so in front of my body. So if I were hitting a ball right now, I'd be ball first, divot second, and it just becomes effortless when you feel that right elbow getting near your right hip, okay? Another thing we can do is sit here and rehearse impact position. I love doing this, where I'm here, and then what we can do is get that right elbow getting closer to that left arm. We talked about the club being laid off or shallow. All it is, we're feeling our wrist kind of go this way, all right? Kind of like if I'm sitting here, my right elbow goes in this way, my wrist comes this way, okay? And that's gonna add some flexion, and that's gonna lay off the club, okay? Now we can open our hips towards the target, and we can add the last thing we need to do, hips and chest, sorry. Hips and chest go towards the target. The last thing we need to do is add some right side bend, okay? We're bending right here. All this is this move right here. When I say side bend, it's this side bending this way. Okay, so hips, shoulders, okay, elbow towards, laying off the club, adding right side bend. If we can get into that position, that's gonna really help us. Okay, So we're feeling like on the way down, the right hip is making contact with, not making contact, but we're feeling like it's gonna make contact with our right elbow, and then it's gonna help us get into this position here, we're releasing. Again, if I'm throwing a ball, okay, if I'm throwing the ball, I'm gonna be leading with my right elbow. So if what we can also do for a drill is get in golf posture here, okay? Golf ball in your right hand, and what I want you to do is stay in your golf posture, okay? And what I want you to do is make a golf swing, but really throw this ball, okay, downrange. So I'm gonna be here, right hand, and throw it. And as you look, you're gonna see that to throw this ball, I had to kind of lead with my elbow to get the most speed. If I didn't do that, and I'm here, I didn't lead with my right elbow, get that right elbow closer to the hip, then I would be throwing the ball this way with no power whatsoever. Because of a lot of times what we're seeing amongst most amateurs is they're letting the elbow go this way because they're trying to square the club face up. If you look at this, if I have an open club face here and I let the elbow go this way and the hands go this way and release early, if we're closing the club face here, that's one way to close the club face or square it, but that's the wrong way, okay? So if we can get into this right elbow here near the hip, club laid off, and now you can say, okay, Josh, I'm here, but my club face is wide open. Now, if I stay here, my club face is gonna be wide open. Josh, how do I square my club face? Well, this is a huge part of it. If you can learn to square your club face from the right position, then you're gonna be in good shape. There's a couple ways of squaring the club face. One, we either gotta take a stronger grip, okay? Talked about that in other videos. Or you can add more flexion. Really, more flexion is what we wanna see. Flexion is the left wrist going this way, more like Dustin Johnson at the top, okay? Or the right wrist going this way, so that maybe you're feeling like you're holding a plate. So with your right hand, you can feel like you're more so holding a plate, okay? Instead of this going that way, you're more holding a plate here. That's gonna help add flexion. And it's also gonna help, okay, it's gonna help shallow the club. Okay, so if I add flexion, left wrist going this way, Dustin Johnson, think Dustin Johnson, okay? Top of my wrist is pointing more towards the camera. If I'm adding flexion, that's one way of squaring the club face more and helping you release the club. But listen, trying to square the club face by releasing the club is no good, as we got an airplane flying over. Sorry about the audio. If you're releasing it, the right elbow goes that way, no good. We're releasing early, hands are getting behind the club face, okay? Leading to bad shots. So we've got to figure out, and one of the main things is figuring out how to square your club face correctly, okay? Another drill we can do to help with this is just simply stick a alignment rod through your belt loops, okay, lined up with your right hip. And as you come one-handed again, we're coming down, and what we want to do is just hit the alignment rod with our elbow. Okay, so if we can learn to do this, hit the alignment rod with the elbow. Obviously, we're not making full swings here. I don't want to hurt your elbow, but it's really just slow motion. Okay, the hips are clearing, and we're making contact with the right elbow. Kind of one thing we didn't talk about is the hip movement. Obviously, the hip movement is going to be crucial here, but that left hip is working back behind you. That left knee is rotating left and then straightening up. But really, if you can just slow motion, get yourself to make contact with your right elbow to that alignment rod here. Just do that over and over and over again. You're going to be getting yourself in a good position to make solid strikes. Okay? So that's huge, guys. It's really important. Let's hit a couple here. And all I'm going to think of, we're going to go slow motion here to start. But all I'm thinking of is that right hip getting closer to that right elbow and then releasing the club out towards the target. And it's just effortless. It's an effortless power. It's an effortless release when we're moving our body correctly and getting into that really strong position here. Just 3/4 swings. And that's just a really good feeling, a really good thought. All those shots were dead straight, purely struck. So guys, I don't know if you're tired of hearing me say it, but work on this, okay? Work on this position. Elbow hip close, okay? I don't want you to feel like that elbow stays in here the whole time in your backswing. That's the worst thing that you can have, okay? Your elbow and hip, they're gonna go away from each other. Elbow's gonna go to college, okay? Your hip's gonna go, I don't know where your hip's going. It's going for a trip to Europe, okay? And as they come down, they're meeting home for Christmas. Terrible analogy, this is so bad. I just came up with this. I didn't think about this. But they're meeting up with each other. Hey, how you guys doing? And then they're going back their separate ways. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. I'm gonna be making more instructional videos to help you guys play better golf. And if you haven't, hit that like button. It really, really helps me out. I'm looking forward to making more videos here on YouTube and helping you guys play better golf and helping me become a better instructor. So thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.